Hey.
Whoa.
Hey, welcome for this impromptu bonus episode of That's Good Sports, That's Good Broncos, whatever you want to call it. I'm Brandon Perna here with Will Keys. We got the Broncos going into the wild card round. We decided we needed to talk about it. We need to do a little podcast, a little live stream, a little whatever, because this has not happened in a long time. And Will and I are both very excited. Got a tough matchup against the Buffalo Bills, a team I don't think we want to play as Broncos fans, but we're gonna get into what the Broncos have been doing well this season, kind of maybe how they match up with Buffalo, how they can beat Buffalo, which is possible, and just shoot the shit on what's been a great season for Broncos fans. Before we started, we're like, you know what? Doesn't really matter what happens in this game. We are literally just happy to be here. We've exceeded expectations. And I don't think I've ever gone into a playoff game rooting for my team, not really caring what happens. Like, if we lose, it's fine. If we lose bad, it's fine. If we win, obviously, it's great. And then I told Will, I'm a little more nervous if the Broncos win, because then we've got a big responsibility. We have to beat the Chiefs. We're the first team comes face to face with
first
the Chiefs.
Line of defense, yeah.
Yeah, that is not just a responsibility to the NFL, to America. We are America's team in that situation.
We are keepers of the light in the divisional round if we make it that far.
Yeah. I mean, Bills fans will be relying on us. Even though we had just beat the Bills, they will want us to beat the Chiefs. Bengals fans will be relying on us to beat the Chiefs, to prove we didn't prevent them from having the opportunity. People who believe in God in the afterlife and heaven, they will be rooting for us.
Yeah.
Because if the Chiefs do three-peat, it is Satan's
everywhere
world.
will be on our side.
Yeah. So we well, I'm scared if we win. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's house money this week.
It is.
It's total house money. All the pressure is on Buffalo's shoulders.
Yeah.
And they're playing a frisky team. They're not playing. I don't think they're playing like the Miami Dolphins here.
No.
I think we've got more juice. I think they're more equipped to go up to cold, potentially a little snowy Buffalo and play good ball. I think the only thing I didn't like about this scheduling was that it was a 10 a.m. Sunday game. Because I hate the west to east travel for the early games.
Sure.
But I don't know. You got to take what you can get at this point. It's been so long. Yeah. Have we mentioned this is we've been doing this for 7 seasons.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we've ever been able to talk about a playoff game.
Yeah. It's crazy.
7 seasons.
We're sharing this sexual experience together for the first time. Football sexual experience, Will.
Hand in hand.
Hand in hand. There's so much I want to talk about today. And you and I just haven't talked on a live stream for a while. We killed the That's Good Sports show, following the Thursday night games, because I was too tired. I was too tired in that time slot. And we've got something we're gonna pick up with soon. It's just been a crazy season though. And yes, God does believe in our boners. I said that with great passion. I'm sorry if it confused your friends. I'm sorry if you're listening to that at work, but God officially also has a boner for Bo Nix.
Sounds like a great opportunity to explain to your friends why God believes in our boners.
Yeah.
Take it as an opportunity, not as a crisis.
I think it'll make you closer with your friends, some say.
And with God.
Today's episode is sponsored by Underdog. Will's future depends on you signing up and playing Underdog. That is the biggest supporter of this channel. They've rocked with the live streams. There's a link in the description. Just use my code That's Good. We are over 4,500 signups. The goal is 10,000, but 45 is crazy. I think Will and I will build our Broncos picks a little later in the episode, but literally, Underdog, what they're doing with this channel is giving us the opportunity to solidify financial security through the next couple seasons, and we've never had that. If you're not into it, if you don't want to play daily fantasy or pick'ems, that's cool. But this is a great way, a great sponsor. They fucked with us for 2-3 seasons now, and very excited. All right, first thing I want to talk about, Will. Or what are you going to say?
I was going to say, if we hit 10,000 signups, Brandon will let me out of this room.
Yeah.
It is locked from the outside, and only he has the key, and it unlocks with 10,000 signups. Please, I have not seen my family in so long.
It's like a Saw. I just I communicate to you in the room and tell you.
Is there a bathroom in here? I don't know.
Nope. You got a closet.
I got a closet.
You got a closet. All right. First thing I want to talk about, Will. Because, all right. so many nice things have happened this season. We've gotten great play from so many different players. And I think you and I tried to be pretty level-headed about what this season could be for the Broncos. I think we were both very happy with the Bo Nix pick. We were excited. We both believe Sean Payton's a good head coach and that Russell Wilson and Sean just were not a good marriage at all from the start. I was concerned that the defense wouldn't be that good this season. I was like, we lose Justin Simmons. We don't have like a lot of big name talent outside of Pat Surtain. Zach Allen was pretty good last season. Yeah. We liked the John Franklin Myers move. We thought that could really help the defensive line, but it was like maybe the defense is the thing that kind of takes a step back, and then that makes life harder for Bo Nix as a rookie. Defense has been fucking crazy. Like Pat Surtain is in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. We know he's been good, but I listened to Nate Tice posted a clip on Twitter with just some tremendous Pat Surtain stats. First one, Surtain has given up the fewest yak yards per reception. So even when he gives up a reception, guy is tackled immediately or pushed out of bounds immediately. You saw a lot of throws that work against Pat Surtain are to the sideline. The coverage is good. He just pushes him out. Surtain missed just one tackle this season, has the lowest missed rate for any defensive player in the league, lowest yards per target when throwing at Pat Surtain, and the lowest yards on a per snap basis allowed this season by Pat Surtain. I knew he was good. It felt like he was having a Champ Bailey type season, but he's done everything perfectly all year. And I'm so sick of when there's a nice Pat Surtain stat up there, some dumb fuck who really doesn't understand football going, Jerry Jeudy had 200 receiving yards.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
Or Jamar Chase. Chase cooked him.
Wasn't covering
T. Higgins or whatever. I don't know. I mean, it is a Champ Bailey, like 2006 kind of season, which he should have won Defensive Player of the Year that year, and probably does if they make the playoffs. It's just that I think teams are smarter than they were in 2006, and they're smart enough not to throw to him. And when teams do throw to him, rarely, bad things happen for them. 4 interceptions on very, very few opportunities this year. I'm glad, like in this case, that we have all the next gen sort of stats and analytics to describe how good a corner is, because back in the day, you just kind of have to take everybody's word for it, or just assume that either they have a lot of interceptions, or you kind of watch the games and you're like, no one's throwing to this guy, so he's got to be good.
Yeah.
But we have a way to articulate that now, and I think that's going to help PS2's case for Defensive Player of the Year. And obviously, I hope he gets it as a fan. But I think he should get it kind of to say Defensive Player of the Year is not just who had the most sacks this year.
Yeah. it would be nice if
That's
if
usually that
what
it is. Going back to like post Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah, who is the sack leader right now?
Trey Hendrickson, I believe.
Oh yeah, he ain't gonna win it because the Bengals defense outside of him was not good.
Yeah. And it was kind of a, I don't want to say it's a down year for TJ Watt, but not like a super stat heavy year for TJ Watt. He had a lot of sacks called back to penalty.
Here we go. I'm going to bring it up real quick. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, Hendrickson, 17.5 sacks. Then Myles Garrett with 14. Then our man Nik Bonitto. Bonitto. And
I don't see any interceptions for those other top guys.
No. Any pick sixes in there?
You have to go all the way down to Van Ginkel.
Yeah. Two forced fumbles. Yeah, Van Gink. And then you got Jonathan Cooper with 10.5 sacks. Kind of the unsung hero, I think, of the Broncos defense.
Absolutely.
He's just been very good. And then where's our next dude?
Zach Allen at 22.
There he is. Zach Allen. And we got John Franklin Myers down here at 7. So 4 guys. Well, 42, top 40-ish. But like, it's just a testament of how impactful the defense has been. And when you get that kind of pressure, that obviously helps your corners. It helps your secondary. And that there have been issues when, guys like Riley Moss weren't in there and other things. But I wanted to point out just how good Surtain has been this year, because it's been fun to watch, and you're really right when it's hard to evaluate how impactful like a corner is.
Yeah.
And I think Dan Orlovsky talked a little bit about it because he was forced to pick a team that could upset this weekend. And he said, I would say the Broncos have the best chance to upset the Bills. He's like, I don't think it will happen. He's like, he was basically saying he doesn't think there's going to be an upset, but Denver's kind of built to do it. And he leaned in on Pat Surtain, back to Bailey, just man up on one side of the field, and you take that side of the field away. Yeah, and that allows the Broncos defense to do so many other things that, other defenses can't do.
It's interesting, too, because there's not like a guy on the Bills. They have a lot of guys. They don't have a star on the outside like they
as a
did
receiver, right?
Stephon Diggs. Yeah.
Yeah.
To say, just have this guy in Surtain's pocket the whole game, and then everybody else we'll worry about. I don't know who you cover, really. If you're Surtain, you probably don't, you're not traveling with anybody, but no. I think it'll be a healthy dose of Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir. But it frees them up to do some interesting things, too. And people were talking about it because we played the Bills last year on Monday Night Football and did a really good job on defense, even other than takeaways, which I think they got 3. But they did a good job not sending too many guys, but mixing up who they're sending, when they were sending them, and just kind of keeping Josh Allen on his toes. So I'm excited to see how Vance Joseph responds to that, how the Bills respond to that, if they're ready for it, if they can just get pressure with 4 guys. We'll see. Yeah. I don't feel anything.
I hope the Bills bring too many men on the field a couple times again.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. Save it for the most critical juncture in the game, like last year.
Please. And that I saw the replay of the Russell Wilson throw to Courtland Sutton in the end zone in that Bills game this morning, just randomly on Twitter. I was like, God, that was such an incredible play, both by Russ and by Courtland Sutton. Mm-hmm. But, all right. So Surtain, check. We'll see how Buffalo, navigates the Broncos defense. But I think the other thing we were pretty spot on about before the season was that in our predictions episode, we put Josh Allen as an MVP, our MVP winner. Yeah. I twisted it and threw in Jordan Love to make it a co-MVP situation. But
this is a Josh Allen thing.
Yeah. I think you and I looked at Diggs leaving as a good thing for the Bills offense. Yeah. And it was because we just watched the Chiefs win a Super Bowl with maybe one of the least impressive receiving cores they have had since the year they didn't have a wide receiver get a receiving touchdown, right? It was a committee approach. You got Mahomes' kind of best quarterback football where, like, he's just playing smart football. And we're like, you know what? Like, the Bills probably have more talent spread around than the Chiefs last year, but I think this is gonna be Josh Allen's year to show, like, he's the fucking reason that offense operates at the level it does. He will spread the ball around, and why maybe you lose singular production in Diggs, they're going to be harder to defend because of that. And I think that's true. And I think this is the reason I don't think the Broncos win this weekend is it's because of Josh Allen, and that's an easy answer. But I think this is the best Bills team heading into the playoffs they've had, I think, as a complete unit, right? They're healthy. They're playing complementary football pretty well. Their defense isn't perfect, but their offensive line is, with the Broncos, is one of the top 3 offensive lines in pass protection this year. Josh
Allen's been sacked 14 times.
Yeah, which is one of the best ever in the last 20 years. The 08 Broncos were in there for giving up fewer sacks.
Yeah,
I got to find that stat.
That was the year they drafted Ryan Clady in the first round. He was an All-Pro.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was maybe an All-Pro.
Yeah. But
really
I feel like this is Josh Allen's masterpiece year. That's just my feeling. I think the Bills are the team that's going to get to the Super Bowl ultimately, assuming they can beat the Ravens if that's their matchup. In that's a tough divisional.
One. That is going to be their biggest hurdle, I think. Yeah. I think the mental hurdle, of course, will be Kansas City, if it comes to that. But to play Baltimore, that's just a team that kicked the shit out of them in Baltimore earlier this year.
And the Broncos, too.
It would be in Buffalo. But you still have that hanging over your head. For sure. And I think the Bills win this weekend too. I think, this has been the best Josh Allen season. I think that the Diggs thing is a classic case of addition by subtraction, and that people always compare, wide receiver cores to a basketball team because you want guys that do different things and are different sizes, have different skill sets, but also they've just turned into instead of a ball dominant guy and Stephon Diggs, they're just like the Spurs, where they just give it to everybody and there's so much ball movement and then everything flows so much better.
Yeah. And I think their run game has been more effective this year. I think James Cook is a really good running back. This is the stat. And I retweeted this mostly as a Broncos nod to this 08 team that I had no recollection of that offensive line being that good.
Yes, Clady and Ryan Harris were the 2 tackles.
Nice. Look at that. 03 Lions, just 11 sacks allowed. But this crazy. And we talked about it in power rankings that, Allen only been sacked 14 times. And I think that's if the Broncos win this game, that number, changes. And the Broncos are one of the best teams. They are the best. They had more sacks at 63 this year than any other team.
Yep.
So it's our strength versus their offensive strength. And we saw, I think the Broncos struggled to get pressure in that Chargers game, going against, a couple very good tackles who were healthy in Alt and Slater and the Chargers. Even the Chargers interior line I thought was pretty good in that game. So all the guys that have been awesome this year, Zach Allen, Bonitto, John Franklin Meyer, they need to have a big game, I think, for the Broncos to have a chance to beat the Bills. The pressure on Allen has to change. Unfortunately, even if you pressure Josh Allen,
that's not winning, necessarily.
it's not Sam Darnold, right? Where you saw him be completely ineffective because the pressure was too much. Like Allen's a guy who you pressure, he's going to extend the play, and he's going to fucking throw the ball in your goddamn face a different way.
Yeah, you almost wonder like whether teams are actively like trying to sack him versus trying to like seal up the pocket.
Yeah.
And maybe make him throw off platform rather than the main objective being to sack him. And maybe that affects those numbers kind of in the same way that, you're not trying to get into a game of chase with Lamar Jackson because he's going to win that race every time.
Yeah. This is a really good point. I think mobile quarterbacks do take more sacks. Just by nature of trying to extend plays, and they risk that a little bit more because the upside is greater. And that's kind of been Josh Allen's like MO, not the sacks, but like he is an elite play extender. So yeah, he's having a great season. I think.
Where do we think Bo is as a play extender? I think he's
pretty
got
good.
A chance to be one of the best.
Yeah, he is. It's like it. I think if a couple of those passes to Troy Franklin hit this year, you're having Bo Nix maybe just above Jaden Daniels in terms of their rookie of the year conversation.
That's crazy. It is crazy too to me. Just like the whole the 29 touchdowns thing. Didn't throw on the first 3 weeks of the year.
I know.
Threw one in week 4. All of a sudden, he's got 6 in the last 2 games, and he's just on a tear, or 7, I think. Now that I think about it,
I think Bo Nix is. I think getting the Max Crosby stamp of approval is one of the more complimentary things for Nix.
Yeah.
I think he's done a hell of a job from the mental side. Like, I don't know him personally. I've met him a couple of times, and obviously on the field, I'm berating him with not only my words, but also me throwing him around, every time I see him. But he's tough. You know what I mean? He doesn't react. I think I was mic'd up, and they cut that whole clip of me discussing certain things with him. I'm, going after him, and he just kind of was looking at me. And I was like, okay, like he's got some balls to him. He's not like, you know what I mean? He didn't cower down.
Oh yeah. Oh, speak up. That's right. That's right.
He's done a hell.
I don't think Max Crosby would just make that shit up. You know what I mean?
No, why would he? And he did that. I forget who it was, but that picture from the second Raiders game too, where his eyes went all crazy. So there was someone
Bo
in his
Nix's?
face. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy eyes.
We got a real gamer on our hands, folks.
Yeah, Bo Nix is a gamer, and he's a competitor. I think Russ was kind of that as well, but I think there's just like an air of confidence with Bo Nix that you don't see necessarily with a lot of rookie quarterbacks. I think Jaden Daniels has it for sure right now, obviously as well, but Josh Allen played with that confidence his rookie season, but you were like, Josh Allen is missing some of his receiving targets by another person.
Remember that his first playoff game in 2019 where he went for this long run and then he tried to lateral it to somebody and it almost turned into a big turnover against the Texans late in that game.
Yeah.
That's who he was for a long time. And I don't think people really remember that version of Josh Allen, but I say all that to say Bo's way ahead of schedule.
He is ahead of schedule.
As a 24-year-old, which I don't care about, but a lot of people do.
It's the dumbest thing.
Yeah. And I saw, you always see people on Twitter comparing Bo Nix to Mac Jones. And it's like, please watch one fucking football game in your life.
Yeah.
You 12-year-old, you just see 2 white guys of similar stature wearing number 10. And
yeah, they're very different.
Yeah.
And I think
come on.
To be fair to their point, Bo Nix has a lot of room to grow. And I think he's going to get better. I think he's got the right coaching staff around him. I think Sean Payton's great for it. I think Davis Webb's great there. I think he should be better next year. But there's always the chance, like, you know, a quarterback doesn't improve, right? Like, you can play really well as a rookie, and we're seeing, like, for various reasons, CJ Stroud not play nearly as effectively as he did last year. Some of it's on him, some of it's not. But
yeah,
I don't feel that way with Nix. I feel like there's some areas in his game that definitely need to improve, and for the first time, I am confident that they will improve.
Yeah, I think, and that's a product of us seeing him actively get better over the course of the season.
Yeah.
It's not always, it's not always a straight line, but,
no.
On the whole, such a different quarterback than we saw walk out onto the field in Seattle or against the Steelers.
Sure.
And we've just seen him get so much better, so much more confident. His mechanics have become more consistent. He's become more aggressive, I think, in the right spots. And yeah, that does lead you to believe that with another offseason and more familiarity with the playbook, because you can only absorb so much in one season. Whereas like Stroud was just really, really good, like almost right away.
Yeah.
He was kind of really, really good and really steady the entire season. And it didn't feel like, I don't know, there's always room to improve, and we thought he would get better this year, but a lot of the situation was out of his control too.
Yeah,
with the receivers.
And I mentioned Stroud because I think he'll be good again next year.
Bad either necessarily.
No, they're
in the playoffs.
The Texans have offensive problems, and it's a lot of early down struggles, and they're in terrible position on third down. And we watched that for 2 years with Russ. Like, it's hard on any quarterback if you're in third and long every fucking play. I think Stroud will be better next year, and hopefully, his receivers stay healthy. I wish we were playing the Steelers. That would be such a fun matchup. And Broncos could win that game too. That's why I want to play the Steelers.
Thank you, sir.
What was I going to say? Damn it.
From New England? That's crazy.
Oh, we got love from New England. Bo Nix. What was I thinking about Bo? Oh my God. Oh, it's too, like, his early on first half of the season. I feel like the biggest issue were the missed opportunities on some of the deep shots, right?
Yeah.
And not everyone was necessarily on Bo Nix. We saw him defend Troy Franklin when it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
And I think that started to click a little bit. And we've seen the guy emerge, Marvin Mims. He's been the difference, I think, for their offense in the games with the big plays. And
figured out how to use them.
Yeah, still that throw to Mims in the Browns game is insane. It's a ridiculous throw, a ridiculous play by Mims, who is a short receiver. That's usually not the guy making those plays, like in those situations, splitting like right between double coverage. Mims has been uplifting, I think, for the offense in the big plays. Bo started hit on more of those. And then I think like the difference with Nix too, if you're paying attention, is just the way like his teammates also talk about him.
Oh yeah.
There's, I think, such a level of respect for Nix and the way he handles business. The trust that they have in him as a rookie, I think, has been surprising. And we had to beg for the Broncos team to stick up for Russ for almost a full year.
Yeah.
And maybe they learned from that a little bit, like have your QBs back. And I think that gives me confidence as well. I think they like playing for Sean Payton. I think like their respect for him and how they game plan is significantly different than we've seen from any of the coaches since probably fucking Kubiak. So it's every level. And it started with Walmart buying us, giving us all the money, and then Greg Pinner actually doing like a good job. Like hey, all right, we made some mistakes. We got the money to change it. They changed it. They went out and got Sean Payton. And
can I say something about that real quick about the Walmart guys? We got really lucky there because we had great ownership with Pat Bowlen, maybe the best. And now you look around the league, especially at the teams that are looking for head coaches right now, and you see McCaskies and Shad Khan and Woody Johnson and a bunch of guys who are really just not qualified to running teams because it's not a meritocracy. It's a battle of who has the deepest pockets. And, that's the most critical ingredient in long-term sustained success, which is terrible, which is like a bad thing because fans don't get to choose who their owner is. There's no real turnover, except in pretty rare occasions when the team is sold or a Dan Snyder situation. But that is what gives me confidence, I think, even beyond like Sean Payton and the quarterback going forward.
No, it's true. It's why I think it is going to be really hard for the Cincinnati Bengals to get back to the Super Bowl. Do you trust the top of that organization to pay the right players, and they're not they're not in the worst position, but I think that's where Cincinnati's problems really begin. You look at the Browns too, like bad. But yeah, ownership's been good. We got lucky. We got lucky too that like Greg Pinner, I think, cares about the team.
Mm-hmm.
But also knows like to just stay the fuck out of the way. Like trust the guys you put in position to make the tough decisions and be there to support those guys when they need it or to provide like guidance if that's what they're seeking. You know what I mean? And he's not trying to make football decisions for him. It's like more of like a philosophical approach on shit, probably.
Being a good owner really comes down to, hiring the right guys, staying out of the way, and opening up your checkbook.
Yeah.
And they do that.
They do it. I think probably, I don't think it's limited versus there's a lot more probably to Sean Payton's playbook, and it's just a matter of time and Bo Nix learning. The checkdowns, I think it's the short passing game, whether that's, you want to call it a check down or not, and it is a check down a lot of the time, but like, I think that's just part of how Sean Payton's offense is designed. And the issue there really isn't like Bo throwing out to your running back in the flat or your receiver kind of sitting there. It's that the Broncos offense hasn't found the guy to turn those plays into big plays consistently. That said, early in the Chiefs game against their backups, the first touchdown was quick pass out to Marvin Mims, takes it to the house, right? I think Sean Payton had a guy like Alvin Kamara in New Orleans where you dump it out, a play that we've seen get no gain, turns it in 7-8 yards. So I think it's about finding the right personnel there. And I think Mims is one part of that. And I think Jaleel McLaughlin is the running back that needs the most touches for the Broncos if they want to beat the Bills. I feel like on a per touch basis for Denver, he's been their best option this season.
Yeah, and I think there's like a little difference too between a check down where the quarterback goes through all of his reads maybe too quickly or nobody's open and they just get the ball to the running back as like a fifth option versus a designed wide receiver screen or a designed swing pass to get the running back in space. Because I think that's most of what they're doing. There are some check downs though, for sure.
Yeah. The touchdowns, it is crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, different kind of different eras, but it's cool. It's cool to see.
It is great. Yeah. And it is That's Good Broncos. It is
hell yeah.
A season that like I have nothing bad to say about. Now, obviously there are games and there are moments and there are a couple games I wish, we could have back and we could get some wins, but the Broncos are not a joke anymore. And they were for the last like
Don't
3
even
years.
think about joking about us.
Don't you dare joke.
Don't joke.
And I say that
Nothing
knowing
funny.
the Bills could beat the Broncos by multiple scores.
Yeah,
like, I get it. It doesn't mean the Broncos are a joke or are bad. They're just going up against a team that I think has the best quarterback in the NFL this season, even over Lamar Jackson. And that's what so much success comes down to in the NFL. Unless you have the best defense in the league, you better have a fucking quarterback.
Well said.
Yeah. With that said, I do want to build us a little Broncos pick 'em through Underdog.
Yeah.
And then we'll make our final prediction here about the Broncos. While I pull that up, Will, why don't you talk about Zach Allen or John Franklin Meyer a little bit? Because they are really good.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Allen didn't get named to the NFLPA All-Pro team, which I thought was a little bit surprising. He wasn't a Pro Bowler either. This is one of the rare cases, I think, where the media is going to get it right more than anybody else. And I think he's going to get named to the AP All-Pro team.
There we go.
John Franklin Myers is a case of – also, they said that he finished with 7 sacks. During the broadcast, they were talking – do you remember when they were talking about him only getting 6.5 when he needed 7 for that incentive? Yeah. I wonder if somebody just kind of fudged the numbers a little bit or decided to credit him with that extra.
Yeah, because Nik Bonitto was on the sideline, right? Was he talking to him?
Yeah. Incredible draft day trade from the Jets, by the way.
Oh, my God, dude. It's been – and we were like, okay.
We knew it. Like, everybody knew it right away. Like, this – what the hell is New York doing? Yeah.
They lost a solid piece. Yeah. And I like John Franklin Myers. He's been active on Twitter lately. He called out Jeff Saturday. He's like, is this the guy who didn't want to see us in the playoffs? And I think we need Peyton Manning to also yell at Jeff Saturday on our behalf. Just
snap the damn ball.
Yeah.
Stop talking about my team. Snap the damn ball.
Yeah. All right. You got to help me make these picks.
Okay.
Will. We're going to do 3, maybe 4. We got to get maybe 2 Broncos, a Bill, or 2 Bills and a Bronco.
Should we do Bo?
Yeah. Hold on. I was looking at Jaleel and Marvin. I just talked about him. Marvin at 40.5 receiving yards or McLaughlin at 44.5 rushing and receiving yards. Which one do you think is a better play?
I think McLaughlin. The combined yards, I think that's a good play. So I think they're not going to be kind of too diplomatic about who gets the ball in the backfield. I think Payton's going to see a hot hand and just stick with it the entire game. And I think more than likely that's going to be McLaughlin.
I feel like one thing he does not do well is stick with a hot hand in the backfield.
I agree, but I think he tries to be a little too even-handed in the regular season.
Going to lean in on the guys in this game.
Well, one of the theories is he doesn't want to pump up a running back too much to the point where you have to pay them a lot.
Oh, interesting.
And that, that's not a concern anymore. He's just trying to win a game.
Okay.
And I think McLaughlin's the best running back on the team. So
I do too. He's the most dynamic for sure. Ooh, they don't have a yardage total for Bo Nix. Bo Nix has been tough with yards. It's always set like at 220. Yeah. And he's either like 40 yards over that or like 30 yards under it. I'm like, damn it, Bo.
I think does it have a rushing yards?
Rushing attempts. First half rushing yards, 10.5.
I like longest rush higher than 12 or higher than 11.5.
You like that?
Yeah.
Okay. I also, just as a personal preference, I like playing. I don't like playing like first half stat totals, or first quarter ones, because if they don't hit, then your whole fucking lineup's ruined for the rest of the game.
Right. Yeah, it's instant death.
Like, you better find one that you feel really good about. Okay. And Josh Allen, I think he has 2 passing touchdowns in this game.
Certainly. Yeah.
I feel like it. It's tough because the way that doesn't play out is if they get close a few times and he just rushes in for touchdowns.
Yeah, also possible.
Yeah.
I don't know. I trust him to throw a couple, though.
Okay. So I think like this is a very safe 3-pick play. And if you're going to play in the pick'ems, 2 to 3 picks is where you actually want to be at if you want a really good chance to hit. You add more than this, even if you think your picks are good, that's kind of where you miss out. That's where I make a lot of mistakes. But I like to go for broke. So I am going to add a James Cook rushing touchdown.
Hopefully Josh throws on the James Cook, and they're not just racking up touchdowns every which way.
Wow. What do I got? Let's see. Locked picks must be resolved before submitting your entry. Remove Allen to unlock pick. What the hell does that mean? Lower. Higher. Remove Josh Allen. Okay. Do these things change? Locked picks. Your Cook pick is impacting this selection. Oh my God. Dude. It's all these rules and
all these damn rules.
All right, I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna take that as a sign to leave it at 3. Will?
Yeah, I think
that, you don't want me to pick James Cook? I won't. I'm gonna do 50 for a chance to win 300. If you're gonna play Underdog, use my code. That's good. Again, it's not so much my future you're changing; it's Will's.
Let me out of this room.
Bam. Play. Confirm. Those are my Broncos picks. I said if we get 10,000 signups by the Super Bowl and the Chiefs 3-peat, I will go to their victory parade. That still stands. Why? Because I like to torture myself. All right.
Fun time.
Link in the description. Code that's good. All right, Will. What's your final thought, final prediction for this game?
I've got the Bills. 29-23.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't think they're going to destroy us, but yeah, I think they'll win.
I think a lot of people think the Bills are going to destroy the Broncos.
Broncos really haven't gotten like wrecked this year, aside from the Ravens game.
Yeah. And the other game they got outplayed was that first 3 quarters of the Chargers game.
Yeah. They made it.
Even in that game, they fought bad. They scored a few touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And that's what's fun about the Broncos. Like, their offense can score points. And their biggest flaw this year has just been consistency through the course of a game. They're a weird offense where they'll have like 3 touchdowns in the second quarter, and then that's it.
Yeah.
They'll score a touchdown in the first quarter, and then their next 2 touchdowns don't come until the fourth. So I think that's a sign of a rookie quarterback that's learning. And if they beat the Bills, they've got to be consistent on offense through all 4 quarters of a game. We know the defense is consistent usually throughout the course of a game, with a couple exceptions this year. But
one thing I really want to see is I don't want to come away from this game feeling that Sean Payton should have been more aggressive.
Oh, that's a good call.
You're on the road. You are the underdog.
Yeah.
Play like you're Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Go for some 4th downs. Be aggressive. Go for 2 if you have to.
Punt on first down if you want
first down. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, don't leave with any timeouts in your pockets. Don't leave without, you're not beating the Bills with field goals. You're beating them with touchdowns. So
yeah,
go all out. No one expects you to win anyway. So give it a shot.
I was thinking about this, Brown Panda. Not that Justin Simmons was a problem. He was never the problem, but he went to Atlanta. Did not have a great season in Atlanta this year. But I think Justin Simmons would have been fine if he were playing on this current Broncos roster. Simmons was playing for a bad defense. He was playing safety on a defense that was on a historically terrible sack pace through most of the year. Like they couldn't pressure quarterbacks. That affects your secondary quite a bit. I think Simmons would have been good here in Denver. But luckily they got a dude in Brandon Jones who's been very good at safety for us, has been very, I think, underrated, like on a national perspective. If the Falcons cut Justin Simmons right now, I would be happy if the Broncos signed him just to have him on the team. We love Justin. I don't think
just for him to experience a playoff game.
You know, maybe he is on the backside of his career, but okay, Max, I get why you're saying 38-20. I'll say this, if the Bills score 38 points, I think the Broncos finish with like 30.
Hopefully.
I think it's more of a shootout type game. I think the Bills have proven they can win shootouts.
Yeah, Bills will try to. I don't even think they're going to try to score that many points. Like, I think they're just going to try to possess the ball.
Yeah,
they can do the whole like thing that the Bengals do, where it's death by paper cuts, and they just hold on to the ball for 2/3 of the game.
We'll beat the Chiefs if we beat the Bills. Mark my words. If the Broncos can beat the Bills, they're going to upset the fuck out of the Chiefs. I'm getting cocky because, I don't think we'll beat Buffalo. I think the Bills are...
okay, I think they'll beat the Lions in the Super Bowl.
Broncos over the line. Man, we beat the Bills, we beat the Chiefs, then we beat the Ravens, then we beat the Lions. What a run that would be.
Man.
I do think Buffalo wins. I think maybe 24-20 Bills.
Okay, so we're on the same page.
Yeah. I think we'll have a lot of respect for the way the Broncos played this game.
Yeah. This is, like we said, this is the house money season, the house money game.
Yeah.
Next year is where the real expectations start. Next year is where the pressure starts. Next year, hopefully, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And a lot of good football. But that's when the window, I think, officially opens.
Yeah. I think, I was thinking about that recently, too, where this year's been so nice, and next year, if they don't live up to expectations, it's going to hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
But with that said, again, Denver has money this offseason in free agency.
Yes.
And I don't even know if that's a good thing, because they were so they had to be so frugal last year, and they traded for JFM. Malcolm Roach also been good on the defensive line. Brandon Jones been very good.
Well, yeah, a lot of that money can also go towards locking up Zach Allen.
Yeah.
And keeping your own guys.
Pay some of your own guys, maybe make one splash signing. And if they do, I think it is for a receiver. And I think T. Higgins is the perfect guy for Sean Payton. He likes big receivers. We saw T. Higgins destroy us. I think the Bengals will figure it out, but T. Higgins, there's an interesting Garrett Wilson situation possibly, but if they make a splash, I feel like that's the position. If they don't, I'm fine with them finding the next three Brandon Jones, Malcolm Roach, and whoever type players, and then we have all our draft picks. So I think there's optimism for this offseason.
Yeah, we get to see Tyler Warren, our future tight end, play later today against Notre Dame.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that.
Mm.
He might, at this point, he might be playing himself. Well, the Broncos, he's playing so well that he and the Broncos are currently going different directions on the draft board. Broncos
I know.
Keep sliding down, he keeps going up.
Hey, but I feel like if the Broncos want a guy like that, they're going to trade up to get him.
Maybe.
You don't think so?
I don't know. Well, I don't know if you trade up for a tight end, but maybe. I could see it.
Hey, I think they would do it.
I like the guy. You know me.
I think, too, just my last thought on the Bills. I think, too, I said James Cook. I'm worried a little bit about James Cook, but really, It's, I think, running backs making plays, catching passes is kind of like a way the Bills exploit the Broncos defense. And Ray Davis and Ty Johnson are both guys capable of making big plays. Like Ty Johnson, he doesn't get like a lot of opportunities, but it feels like every, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks, it's like, oh, Ty Johnson scored a 60-yard touchdown in that game. Like I feel like there's a couple of those guys kind of having big games against
on like a
Denver.
deep ball for some reason.
Yeah. So anyway, it's going to be a fun game. I'm happy. Broncos are in it. If the Bills do win, which I think they will, then the Bills have the responsibility of making sure the Chiefs don't get this to the Super Bowl. And I think the Bills have the best chance that they've had in a few years to actually go all the way. The road won't be easy to get there, but I think it'll make them more likely to actually win the Super Bowl if they do get there. So,
agreed.
Yeah, there it is. Boom. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, what, fucking Ty Johnson, 96-yard touchdown? Great.
Yeah, why not?
Josh Allen, James Cook, no rushing touchdowns. Oh, God, Ray Davis has 3 rushing touchdowns, all from the 3-yard line. Like, it's that type of shit that gets you.
They're just they give it to anybody over there in Buffalo.
Yeah. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching along with us today. If you don't know, Will Keys helps write every single episode you see here on That's Good Sports. We've been grinding. Johnny Barks, huge reason why we crank out so many videos. And hopefully Will and Johnny and I working on a new podcast live stream. Well, we're not really working on it. We have the idea. Now we got to work on it.
Yeah.
And we'll put it out there either here on That's Good Sports or maybe That's Good Broncos. And I think maybe we'll make it available to all Patreon members first for like the first, 48 hours or something, because you guys have been so supportive. And the reason like this channel has been able to keep going has been the support there. So appreciate you guys. God bless Bo Nix.
And good luck.
And John Elway played his entire career without an ACL.
Ah, Jesus.
And what else can we add to it? Nik Bonitto. Dude, we need Bonitto. Bonitto's got to make a game-changing play, too.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it for a couple games. Need a touchdown, Nick. Need a touchdown.
Come on, Nick. Just score a touchdown. It's not that hard.
Come on, dude.